Hey Penny, can you come do one more thing for me? Can you close the door? Thank you. Carefully and only sitting on the couch, okay? Don't shut the door. Hi, Deborah. How are you? Let me know if you have any trouble hearing me. Give everybody a few more minutes to join. I only had one more registrant tonight, so. Okey-dokey. I didn't. Huh? 99%. Oh, sorry, you having trouble hearing me, Deborah? All right. Can you hear me now, Deborah? Gonna make a quick scooch over because I got to charge my laptop. Thanks for following me. Let me know if you can hear me or not, Deborah.
I can now.
Okay, good. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I thought I could sit in my nice comfy chair, but my battery is running low, so we gotta switch over here. Okie dokie. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Feel free to ask any questions, stick around or step out if you need to, no problem at all. I'm gonna be recording this whole talk, so I'll be sharing the recording with you later via email so you can refer back. And you'll also get links for the presentation and for the visual birth plan. So let me start sharing my screen here. Okie dokie. Alrighty, I do apologize. My dog, I have an old dog and she wants to sit on the bed, but she can't jump up on the bed anymore. If I don't put her up there, she's gonna whine. So 1 second. Okay. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that. Just all sorts of technical difficulties today. So this is a presentation on visual birth plans. Visual birth plans is something that I have been very passionate about for a couple of years, and I'm super excited to talk about it as always. So my name is Abby Barnowski. I have been a doula for 6 years now, and I absolutely love it. I love discovering new things about birth and about how to do it better. And birth plans is one of my, like I said, nerdy interests. So I like getting to talk about it. So one of the things that I see circulate on social media a lot is we see care providers saying things like birth plans get in the way and they cause more problems than they help. Some care providers have even put notices that they will not be allowing birth plans, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I'm very grateful that I don't see that in my area. But studies show that birth plans are very beneficial to families, even showing that they can reduce your risk of C-section and instrumental deliveries. So that's amazing. They also show that women have a better recollection of their birth if they use a birth plan, which is awesome. Birth plans are just effective at reducing risks. So when care providers say that they get in the way, they're not really using evidence so much as preference for that. And I know I'm zooming through these really, really fast. Like I'm going to give you the link so that you can reference back to all of these. And the link for each of these resources is in the presentation. So you'll be able to click on those and find those easily if you like. Now, talk about the different kinds of birth plans. And sorry for this one, there's not really a good place to put my window to make it easy for you to see, but there's basically three main types of birth plans from what I can see. There's the text version, like we see here on the left. You have the fill-in type where you print it out and then you manually write in what you want, and then the visual version. So, and again, there's like subcategories within all three of these and even mixtures of all three of these, but this is the three main categories. The things that I find for making a strong birth plan, and this is like things that's even more important than what kind of birth plan you use, just things that are important to have represented in your birth plan. Have intentional icons, statements, or paragraphs. Don't have too many requests or things on your birth plan. Really focus on the things that you are very passionate about or that are overarching. So like, for instance, instead of listing off every single thing, you know, kind of pick more general, like I want a natural birth, I want a natural postpartum, stuff like that. And that really helps, you know, helps your care provider follow your birth plan without feeling like it's too much for them to keep up with and remember, because at the same time they're serving each of their patients, especially if you're at a hospital, they're going to be serving many more in addition to you. And so having everybody's birth plan memorized is challenging. So keep it simple is kind of in that same goal. You want to make sure that your birth plan is effective in getting your desires to your birth team. We want to have preference in birth plan that go beyond just good outcomes. Everybody wants a healthy mom, healthy baby. Point of a birth plan is not to state obvious facts like that, but to go beyond. In addition to those things, this is what I would also like to see represented. And most important is to follow your gut. It's always good to have evidence behind your choices so that when you talk to your care provider, you can say, you know, this is what I see the evidence of these things, and this is why I'm choosing them or why I'm not choosing them. But ultimately, even if you don't have necessarily evidence to support your decisions, you need to go with your gut and listen to whatever it tells you above all else. A couple other things to focus on is readability. If it's too chaotic or if there's too much information on it, if there's needless information on it, then that can be a struggle towards getting your message across. Be educated about your options. Know the facts so that when your care provider challenges your choices, you can say, hey, I know my stuff and this is why. A birth plan is not about being picky, but about being empowering through your choices. And when we focus on empowerment, then, you know, we don't need to worry about messy details and stuff like that. I apologize, this is not, it bugs me. I keep forgetting to fix it. I need to bold that. But again, I want to reiterate to lean into the evidence and your gut, but remembering that your gut is the trump card. Things that I see, now I do want to do a caveat before I get into this because I had to select images of birth plans from the internet Nothing against these creators. I'm sure that these birth plans have been a huge benefit to people. But me personally, as a birth worker, when I see birth plans like this, I think that they're probably not going to be as effective. And I'll talk about why. But I am not bashing any creators. Kudos to them for making something and putting it out there. Proud of them, all that good jazz. Cluttering your birth plan with lots of pretty things. The thing that I struggle with this, it's just even me, like I've looked at this birth plan several times and it still is hard for me to focus in on the important bits in here because there's just so much decoration on the outside. And I get it, you know, you want your birth plan to be pretty and you want it to, you know, almost be like an affirmation for you as well as information for your care provider. But if your goal is for your care provider to understand your choices, this might be a little bit challenging. I also strongly discourage checklist style because again, this has all the options. And I know that it's probably really small on your end, so you might not be able to see, but you know, we've got like all these different things and you're checking whether or not you want them or not. So not only is your care provider having to read your choices, but all of the options as well. And that can be really just difficult when it comes to quick situations or rush situations or overworked situations like many care providers are under. This one is not so bad. It does have some checklist things, which are, you know, like I mentioned earlier, but it's also heavy on the ink. Like you got to be thinking when you're looking at a birth plan, this one's going to require a lot of red ink from your printer. So, you know, I strongly can say avoid solid color backgrounds for that sake. I also discourage handwritten. Now, I think this will do in a pinch, but unless you have really easy to read handwriting and you understand how to write it in such a way that it'll be easy for your care provider to grab it in a moment, quickly grab it in the moment, this can be a little bit risky. And if you have very messy handwriting like me, not a good idea. I also discourage long list birth plans. Again, this is just a lot to read. And a lot of these sentences could be easily condensed. So like no vitamin K shot, and in parentheses, we will do oral vitamin K with our pediatrician. That part's not really necessary, the part in parentheses. And so it just ends up being something for your care provider to read. This one is honestly, in a weird way, this one's one of my favorites, this one on the right here, but because it looks really good and it's easy to see. But on the other hand, unless you know what these icons are, like for instance, this one here, right here, delayed cord clamping by 5 minutes. That icon does not relay that information to me at all. I honestly can't even tell that that's a cord. When I first saw this, I thought it was like stitching. So I was like, are they saying they don't want the husband to stitch or they do want the husband to stitch? So this is like, the icons are not serving a really good purpose here because you don't know what they are. So it would be more helpful if the icons and the words were of similar size. So avoid this style of birth plan as well. Now, I have, like I said, been studying birth plans for a while, and I am slowly developing a brand new visual birth plan in a brand new style. And I'm asking people to test it out for me, whether it be themselves or with their doula clients or other types of clients that are going through birth. I'm looking for people to test out this birth plan, tell me what's wrong with it, how can I improve it so that it can be a benefit to families. So let's go check it out. Okay, so basically when you receive this birth plan, you receive a link to a Canva template and you receive a, sorry, words tonight are not easily coming to me. You receive a folder with icon options in it. So basically, it's got a few instructions at the beginning, which I'm going to gloss over because I'm going to explain it as I go. So, but just know that they're there. A general tips for each page of your birth plan. And let's dive in. First page is focused on just kind of like an overview. So this is going to have your basic information, who's on your team. Now, I'm going to zoom in and make it a little bit easier to see. So it has a place where you can put a birth goal, focus word, or phrase. This is where you can do an overarching goal. So like, I want to have a natural birth. I want to have a medicated birth. I want to have a non-traumatizing birth, whatever it is that is important to you. So if I was pregnant and I was building this birth plan, this is kind of like how I would likely build it today. Just an example. So I would like an empowering labor and birth and postpartum. Now, because this is a Canva doc, I have all sorts of different creative things I can do with this. I can make this in red to make it draw more attention. To be like, hey, make sure you pay attention that I want my birth to be empowering. General information about me. But, for this part, I can do, I have had 2 unmedicated births and feel confident about, confidence about doing that again. Something like that. Just general information that your care provider might know. My team, I have a husband, doula, and photographer. Expecting a baby boy. Noah's a nice name. Now this fun little oval can adjust for how comfortable you feel with birthing experience. Now I did hesitate a little bit on this because it felt a little bit like the checklist thing, but I'd ultimately decided to go with keeping it this way because I wanted the care provider to know what scale you're operating on. So if you say, I'm very experienced at birthing, he knows that that's the top end of what you view of your spectrum. So and then how much at peace I am with my birth plan. I'm somewhat at peace, or I'm peaceful, or I'm not at peace at all. Again, it gives you a good kind of range for where your client's coming from. Now, I'm going to actually, now, I've already put these icons in here, but you can change those at any time. Oh yeah, there it goes, okay. So let's say one of my most important goals is I don't want students and I want to do pumping and I want an orgasmic birth. These are all just examples. This is not me specifically. So these icons can be changed anytime. So the nice thing about that is that you're not stuck with one mode and you also don't have to start from beginning to end. So for instance, if this was an app that you were using, like I know a lot of pregnancy apps have self-building birth plan tools inside them. But if you change your mind later, you have to go and start over and build your whole birth plan again. This one you can kind of work on as you go throughout your pregnancy. And you can do things for your birth environment. I want a natural labor environment. I want limited visitors, stuff like that. So generally, see those squares when you get the birth plan, they just say drag and drop by birth plan icon. So now history is the second page. Again, I like to have a little scale of how much your health concerns you about your labor and birth. So for instance, if I'm going into birth with an injury, or if I'm planning a VBAC and I've had 2 C-sections, then my health might concern me or not concern me. This lets your care provider know how you're feeling about it. Now I messed up and oops, they're supposed to be, these are supposed to go all the way up, but I forgot to reset it after the last time I did this talk. So I apologize about that, but you can kind of see what it looked like. So imagine there are all these icons up here. Now, when it comes to health history, some people have more mental and emotional history. Some people have more physical history. Some have, another category. So you can adjust these and change sizes as you go. And you can rate them as far as you're very concerned about them, somewhat concerned, and not concerned. So maybe something that might very concern me is if I have a history of anxiety, I might put that up here. And if I'm, not concerned at all about my allergy to cashews, I can put that down here. Stuff like that. And then I can rate it. And that way your care provider can see kind of like, okay, so I definitely want to pay close attention to these ones at the top. Like I have marginal cord insertion of my placenta might go high up, stuff like that. And again, it just works. And I don't think I have any health history options loaded up into my computer at the moment. I need to do that, or into my Canva at the moment. Yeah, so and then most of the pages have an alert at the bottom. So like if you have an allergy to penicillin or something like that, or to an antibiotic, then that might be something that you would put at the bottom that you want to pay extra attention to. An allergy to latex, stuff like that. High blood pressure, whatever it might be. Now, your pre-labor options, this is something that you might more likely be not necessarily taking into your birthing location, because hopefully by the time you're at your birthing location, you're already in labor. But you can definitely use it to go over with your care provider to make plans for induction or going into labor naturally, or both. So for instance, here, I want my water to break on its own. I would probably put that one. All right, Deborah, I think I have you on in 2 things now. Hope that's okay. It's really interesting. So, water breaking on its own is something that I want my care provider to know. I'm very comfortable with my water breaking on its own. Now, with the health options, it was arranged, you might remember, as very concerned through not concerned. But with birth options, I have it arranged from comfortable to not comfortable. So I'm very comfortable with my water breaking on its own. I am very comfortable with pumping at home. I'm very comfortable with pumping with my care provider, stuff like that. And this can be a great way to have these conversations with your care provider. And then maybe after talking to them, you might want to rearrange some of these icons. And again, because it's a Canva link, you can do that. So, just gonna double check the chat. And again, there's a notes section at the bottom. And this says notes, but truthfully, you can change it to alert if you want to. Do anything you like. It's my favorite part. And you can even change the wording of not comfortable. Maybe you want to say very not comfortable. Totally up to you. The next thing is labor. I feel most comfortable arriving at my birthing location when contractions are 5 minutes apart, for example. And again, this does not have to stay red. We can turn this black. We can do whatever we like. The only thing I say with like creativity things is avoid any creativity things that would make it hard to read. So for instance, if I change the font of this to something like this, your care provider's not going to be able to read that very well. So try to stick to easy read fonts, stuff like that. And you can change the colors on these if you want to have it represent something that's more your style, maybe like bright yellow, all that kind of stuff. I do say that try to keep things a logical color. Again, like, because if I wanted to artistically make this like varying shades of blue, then it might be a little harder to understand as far as like, oh, this is okay, this is this is not okay. And then as you can see, last time I did this presentation, I said maybe you're comfortable with all the interventions, and you can literally take the not comfortable things off. And like, I'm comfortable with all of my options, but I would like to try these first. I want to try these if those don't work. And then these, I only want to try if nothing else worked. So you can arrange it in ways that make you feel comfortable. I'm going to do the offer of pain management last. I want to do nitrous oxide if a couple other things don't work, stuff like that. So, again, feel free to rearrange and move things around as need be. There's a notes section at the bottom. Pushing, same as all the other things. I'm not comfortable with pushing on my back or whatever, or I'm not comfortable choosing my own position, stuff like that. And second stage is usually longer than third stage. It's the only reason that I made it smaller. But if you have more preferences for third stage than second stage, feel free to adjust the size of these, because they literally, oops, not that way, this way. And then just change the size of them. That way your care provider knows exactly what you want and how comfortable you feel with them, stuff like that. So, and again, if you're like, well, I like this try last, try second, try third, but I don't like this thing, so I'm just gonna take that off. Oops. Like, the comfort level doesn't matter to me. It's the trying first, second, and last. And that is something that's unique with my birth plan, is that it grows with your birth as you go. Whereas most birth plans are like, I'm comfortable with this, I'm not comfortable with that. Well, sometimes things change in our birth. And so it gives us kind of stepping stones for where we want to be. This is the section. I'm sorry, hold on one second. Okay. As long as you can wait just a few more minutes. Okay, go get a banana while you wait. They're under the towels on the island. Okay. So sorry about that. My daughter had a question. So this page is for the first hours after birth. This is, for your section to do preferences on that. I do not have my postpartum icons in my uploads. I'm still working on doing some other things, and so I can't have too many things in my uploads right now, so I apologize for that. But same thing as other things, you just drag and drop where you feel comfortable, and you can make any adjustments to this that you like. And then here's one for the in the event of a C-section. Again, all adjustable, and you can change anything you want, and you can have, like, this is too many icons. Well, let's just delete a few of these. whatever you want to do. Same for postpartum, all adjustable. And again, I don't have any postpartum ones. So yeah. Now I do have this optional extra page, and it's one you do not have to fill out, but if there are things that you're like, you know what, under no circumstances am I okay with vacuum extraction or opioids or, you know, whatever it might be. It's like, you know, no matter what, I don't feel comfortable with these things. This is a great list to talk over with your care provider. It will be, you know, your care provider can have a chance to explain risks and benefits for each of these options. And also, it can give you a good feel for how comfortable your care provider is with you avoiding these things. And sometimes that means that you need to change your mindset on some of them. And other times it might mean that you need to find a new care provider. All depends on how you feel comfortable and what makes you feel most safe. So this is one of my favorite parts of the birth plan. And again, I haven't seen it in another birth plan. It is possible someone's using it. But this is a door sign. So this is something that people have to know before walking into your birth space. For instance, no students. I don't remember where that was. If you don't want students, that would be a good thing to put on your door sign, because a student might accidentally walk in out of habit, you know, because they're used to being allowed in or whatever. Another good example of one to put on the door sign is essential oils in use. So if there's a possibility that a nurse on staff, no more questions, I'm almost done. Okay. We'll help your sister find a banana. If there's a possibility that a nurse on staff might have an allergy to essential oils, they know not to come into the room, and they know to, you know, assign another nurse to come help you out, stuff like that. Or even, you know, if you have an allergy to perfumes, which I don't think nurses wear perfumes these days, but or if you're meditating is a good one to put on this. That way they don't walk in and start chatting with you, and if just, you know, let you be in your zen, whatever it takes. And this will just help all the requests that need to be known before a person walks into the room that you desire. So that is the gist of it. Yeah, so let me get back to our Zoom screen. I do apologize for all the interruptions. Usually, my husband watches the kids, but he had to work late tonight. So any questions, Deborah? I really appreciate you coming and being here. This is super awesome.
Sure. No, I don't have any questions. You showed everything perfectly.
Okay, good. Awesome. And you're going to get a link to this, and
Okay.
you can totally use it for yourself or for a client. It's totally up to you.
Mhm.
If you do pass it along to a client, please pass along my email address as well. You're going to get it whenever, well, you got it earlier when I sent you the message.
Right.
But yeah, just make sure you send along that email as well. That way, if they have any questions or comments, they can send them directly to me. But
Okay.
and aside from that, just have fun with
Great.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
will.
Thank you for coming.
All
Um,
right.
okay. Oh, so Deborah, are you on two accounts? Because on my end it shows two Deborahs, but now it's looking like.
Not not that I know of, and I'm looking at that chat and I
So
did
you
not
didn't pin that. Huh. I'm trying to remember the name of the other person who was signed up. It starts with an M.
huh. That
Yeah,
is weird.
it's so weird.
Yeah, I did not write that.
Well, there you go.
That
So
was me.
here,
I'm Mikey. Hi.
okay, Mikey. Okay, that's what I was guessing. So, hi. For some reason, Zoom is telling me that that both of you are Deborah. So that's really strange. So sorry. I hope you didn't think I was ignoring you. I just thought Deborah was feeling extra and wanted to
Yeah,
twice.
really.
So, did you have any questions?
I actually just came on at the very end and I'm like, oh no, I'll rewatch the whole thing later.
Right, you have all the questions. Oh, that's funny. Well, like I told Deborah, I'm going to be sending a follow-up email with a link to the presentation, and it's going to have a link to the video from the talk. And then it'll also have a link to the visual birth plan, so you can check that out. Feel free to use it yourself or share it with a friend. Yeah, just let me know what you think. So yeah, thank you for coming, even though it was late. I appreciate you being here. All right. Well, you ladies have a fantastic evening. If you don't
Thank
get
you. You too.
the email by tomorrow evening, let me know and I'll resend it to you.
Okay.
All right. God bless.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.